What's up, YouTube? Bay Area Baller back again. This is 49ers Fired Up, the hottest 49ers show on YouTube. And we got a good one for you today. A little Broncos 49ers preview. Stay tuned. I'm excited to have on a Broncos fan. It's my boy, Jeff. Jeff, thanks for coming on. How you doing
Yes,
today?
sir, man. What is happening, man? Hey, I appreciate you bringing me onto the show. Always love talking sports, talking football. Love talking about the Niners too. I got a lot of friends that are in the Niners gang, so let's do this, man. I'm excited.
No doubt. Well, Jeff, we got to start off. We had an unfortunate injury on Sunday, and it hurt big time.
Mm,
I was at this game, and the Trey Lance injury just sucked the energy and the life out of me. Like the 49ers, we were dominating the Seahawks, but it just didn't feel the same after Lance got carted off the field. So why don't we dive right into the first topic? We're getting into the heated headlines.
The heated headlines.
Trey Lance suffered this broken ankle, Jeff,
hmm
and it has me wondering, Kyle Shanahan, does he have any blame in this? And I'll ask you kind of for that outsider opinion. And you have some experience with the Shanahans up in Denver. I wanna ask you. You may have been a bit young when John Elway was quarterback in the Broncos, but was Shanahan running Elway, 7, 10, 12 times a game?
Look, I mean, I think when Shanahan and Elway teamed up, they had a really good running game, right? We had, TD, we had Mike Anderson, we had Olandis Gary. They're all 1,000-yard rushers. So at that point in Elway's career, he didn't have to run as much as he did earlier in his career. Um, but look, man, as an outsider looking at your guys' team and just knowing what I know about Trey Lance, we know he's an athletic, quarterback. We know he's a running quarterback. And by the looks of it, when I was, watching the game or at least watching the highlights of it, I mean, it looked like you guys were dominating the trenches. Like, the that Seahawks defense didn't know what to do. So I don't know. I mean, it's football, right? Like, stuff like that happens. And I felt like, what you guys were doing, there was a lot of momentum. The drives that you guys had. I mean, I
Yeah,
liked what I
first
saw.
drive, they marched down. They got down to the 5-yard line, ended up settling for 3. The second drive, which is the drive Trey got hurt on, they were moving the ball down the field. Debo's
Right.
got a 50-yard run, and we're in Seahawk territory. Go ahead, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no. I mean, it just looks like if let's just say the injury didn't happen, right? I think you guys would have blown the Seahawks way out of the water. I think as far as like rushing yards go, Jeff Wilson probably would have peaked the century mark. Lance probably would have, you know, had a couple rushing TDs on his own. So I don't know if Shanahan is to blame. I mean, it was the call, you know. Look, Josh Allen runs the ball all the time, right? It is a
And
risk.
that's what
It's a
Shanahan
risk.
said post game, because Grant Cohn, who's kind of, the 49ers reporter who really sticks it to, maybe he doesn't stick it to him, but he asked the tough questions. And
Yeah.
Grant asked him, hey, 2nd and 8. And that's my thing. It was 2nd and 8, Jeff. Like, I know we're going to utilize Trey Lance's legs, but it seems to make more sense if it's 3rd and 3, 4th and 2, but it's like 2nd and 8. That's where it felt like Shanahan was overusing Lance's legs to the point where he was just taking too many hits and he's running between the tackles with the big 300-pounders. That's kind of
Mhm.
the part where I think Shanahan deserves a little bit of blame. That's my answer to this.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks, right? Because that's your guys' future. Now we like it's one of those where we still don't know the answer, right? We've been waiting, or you guys have been waiting all year to see Trey Lance play, right? And now you have to wait another year to see what this is all about, you know?
We still don't know,
So
Jeff. We still don't know.
exactly. And so now you're back to, 2021, right? You're back to Jimmy G. It's kind of weird. It's one of those things to where, like, you're like talking to two girls, right? Both cute, right? But you're into this new one, right? And you put all your time and effort with her. You break up with the other one, and then all of a sudden that one girl leaves you, and now you have to go back to that other girl. You got, hey, it was my fault. I'm sorry. So this is kind of an
I
awkward
messed
thing.
up.
Right. I messed up. I'm so sorry. So, the fact that you guys even had a chance to keep Jimmy G and like no one wanted to take him, it's almost like a blessing in disguise in my eyes, because I do think I think Jimmy's a good quarterback. Now is he elite? No, but he's taking you guys to the championship game, right? Like he's taking you pretty far. So I don't know. I mean, as an outsider, I think right now as a team that's in it to win it right now and have Super Bowl aspirations, having a Super Bowl roster, I think Jimmy gets you there. I think he gives you guys a better chance.
You're leading into the next question perfectly. I'm going to get right to it because you led into it perfectly. Are the 49ers Super Bowl contenders with Jimmy G at the helm?
I think, again, this is just an outsider talking, but
exactly. I'll give my opinion after, but I want to hear that from that outside perspective.
As an opponent, I would have probably rather have faced Trey, as in the third game, in his third game for as a starter.
Yeah.
But I also know that he's probably, he's way more talented than Jimmy, so I get it. Like I totally get it. Amin, shout out, man. How you doing, bro? Like I miss you, bro. But anyways, yeah. So I do feel like he is going to give you guys a good chance to go far into the season, to go far into the playoffs. But as far as like a long-term answer, you guys invested a lot in Trey Lance, and this does hurt. It hurts the organization. But I feel for you guys, man. It sucks. But as far as Super Bowl aspirations, yeah, I think you guys have a good chance. I really do.
Okay.
He's taken you guys there before. You can't. I want to hear your opinion. Like,
yeah,
what's your thoughts now that Jimmy's the starter again, right?
Yeah,
There's
and I'm not the biggest Jimmy guy, right?
Okay.
But what I will say, Jeff, is I think absolutely we're still Super Bowl contenders. I'm looking at it. It would probably have to be one in a facet similar to like the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, where we have a top defense, whether it's the best defense in the NFL or a top three. We got a good running game. So I absolutely think that the 49ers can still be Super Bowl contenders led by Jimmy G. And my philosophy is if you get into the playoffs, you got a shot. So we got to get into the playoffs. And Jeff, I think this defense is legit. Jimmy Ward is still out. He's not even back yet. But, we had shut out the Bears the whole first half till Fields broke contain and Dante Pettis had a long touchdown. The game kind of flipped after that. But our defense has been lights out. They just shut down the Seahawks this past weekend. I know it's the Seahawks. Well, you guys saw the Seahawks week one. So yeah, we'll talk about that matchup.
The Seahawks are
good. So I think we got a shot. Things have to work out. Everything has to fall into place, meaning the run game has to be good. The defense lights out. But I think we got a shot at it, Jeff.
No, I do too. Again, as a long-term for the franchise, it sucks. Like it does put you guys back a couple years, right? But as far as like having a quality backup, you can't ask for a better backup that's going into this sort of position. So, and we saw it. Jimmy hung in there. You guys got that dub. it does suck ultimately. Like, you guys lost your franchise quarterback, for the next, 5 or so, 10 years. But, we'll see. Well, all you guys can do is just focus on this year, and you do have the roster for it. So if you're in a win now mode, you guys are set up.
No doubt. Love it. Okay, let's see what we got. See what we got up next, Jeff. Oh, we're getting into we're getting into it now. It's the 49ers Broncos preview. Week 1. It was prime time, Jeff. We're talking Broncos Seahawks, right? I wanted to ask you what stood out from that loss. And after you touch on that, I know you guys just got the dub over the Texans. Why don't you touch on, what kind of stood out between week 1's loss and week 2's win?
Right. I mean, there's a lot of common themes on both games. Like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to say. Like, even though we beat the Texans, Broncos country, I mean, we're a little, we're a little scared right now with the way things are being ran. So we'll start with the Seahawks. I felt like as a team, the first half, it was what it was, right? And I'm not a believer as far as not having your starters sit throughout the preseason, and that's what the Broncos did. I mean, we didn't see any of our starters. Russell Wilson never took a snap with his guys, and I think it did ultimately hurt them.
Especially when you're implementing a new system with new coaches.
Exactly.
Like where the 49ers did that, we didn't play our starters very much, but at least there's some continuity with Kyle Shanahan, who's been in the fold, for 4 or 5 years now. Right.
And so when it comes to that, like, I don't know. I know it's kind of like the trendy thing to do when it comes to these coaches. I am not a big fan of that, and it showed that first half of the Seahawks game. There are penalties on penalties. Geno Smith looked like he was Tom Brady out there. Just picking apart the
They were playing with a different energy, though. Like the Seahawks, the energy and they were so exuberated, almost like they wanted to stick it to Russell Wilson. So they came out with some extra incentive, some extra fire.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And they did their thing, right? That second half, we did end up settling down. Yo, what up, Waruna? But yeah, so the second half, we ended up settling down. The defense, the defense were the stars of that game. So that second half defense shut the Seahawks down. I forgot the total yards, but I believe they had under 100 yards total when it came to the second half. So they did their thing, and obviously, we saw the kick heard around the world. That call, man. So as far as it goes, like when it comes to Russell Wilson, right? We just paid him $250 million, right? To be our guy, to be the face of the franchise. It's 4th and 5. And we had an option of either going for it or going for a 64-yard field goal.
That's a bomb.
That's a freaking bomb. Which is insane, right? And I think
I know McManus has a leg, but 64 yards. Come on.
Right. And so with Russ, just to look at it, he's 63%. Like he converts 63% of the time when it's 4th and 3 or 4th and less than 3. 4th and 5, I like my chances. If it's 60%, you got to go with your guy, right? You got to convert that first down. And just the way it was played out, man, it was a joke. Like we were the laughing stock of the NFL, right? It was the last game of the first week. We missed. Not only did we miss that 64-yarder, but then we started calling timeouts after that when clearly the game was over. So it's one of those
rubbing
things where,
salt
like,
in the wound. Well, what led up to that field goal, Jeff? What I want to touch on with that Broncos Seahawks game, we all saw the fumbles, right? Down by the goal line. But
Yeah.
and after that, I had a show right after that. One of my pet peeves, Jeff, I hate when teams get into shotgun down by the goal line when you're a yard away, a half a yard away. And the Broncos were doing it constantly. Both times they fumbled, they're either at the 1 or the 2. I think one of the fumbles, they're at the half-yard mark. And they're in shotgun. Like, now you're taking the ball, and you're putting it back 5 yards. I don't know if that irked you, but it's just something. It's a pet peeve of mine. I hate shotgun at the goal line when the ball's at the 1.
Absolutely. It's one of those things to where, you gotta show the other team, like, you're not afraid to get down to the brass knuckles, right? Like,
yeah,
you're at the 1 yard line and you're in shotgun, or you're trying to do like some crazy trick play. Like, it's weird. It's weird to me. But yeah, with Gordon fumbling, I don't understand why we keep giving him the ball on the goal line. I mean, he's a decent running back, but when it comes to like, crunch time, like, he's always letting us down. Javonte, I think, also fumbled as well. And, little mistakes like that, that's what's going to hurt us as a team. So ultimately, I felt better with the Seahawks game, even though we lost. But as far as performance goes, I think the Broncos did better with that game versus the Texans game. And we won the Texans game, but that's what I mean is, like, it didn't feel like a good win, right? So it was kind of.
I want to ask you about that Texans game, Jeff, because I checked out the box score. I was tied up. I was at Levi's, watching the football game, so I didn't. But when I checked the box score of this Broncos Texans game, Russell Wilson was sub 50% completion percentage. I wanted to ask you, like, what did the Texans do, or what were the Broncos doing? Like, why statistically was Russell Wilson so poor?
Well, I mean, I think, the Texans, who's the coach? Is it Lovie Smith?
Lovie Smith
over there? Yeah. So, he's a
defensive guy.
He's a good defensive-minded coach.
Been in the league forever.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think as a unit, like, that team is going to be known for their defense, right? And, they held their own. But yeah, Russ didn't look good. I mean, part of it was, the drop balls, right?
That's something that doesn't show up in the box score.
It doesn't, and you can't really blame all that on Russ. But at the same time, again, it leads up to the coaching and their preparation and the preseason, and not, having your starters play, right? This is their second full, like, a game and a half in, where the starters are all together as a unit. So that kind of hurts, So ultimately, I think it comes down to the coaching. But there were a lot of drop balls. If you do watch the game, even the interception, Cortland Sutton had the ball in his hand, and the defender just, yanked it away, took the cookies. So, yeah, I mean, Russ wasn't great. But I think what concerns me the most about Russ is the rushing. So in 2 games this year, he has a total of 5 yards rushing.
Oh, interesting.
Which,
yeah, you'd expect
super interesting.
Yeah, you'd expect more than that.
So that
we played him twice a year for like the last decade, Jeff. So it's like we're used to Russ break and contain, just getting multiple breaking first downs. When he scrambles for first downs, those ones felt like the back breakers, because it's like you locked up in coverage, and Russ still found a way to move the sticks.
Exactly, and that's something that we haven't really seen in our fan base. We haven't seen that athleticism that we thought that he has, or he possesses. So as far as his capability, he even slipped on one of the plays. Like, he had an opportunity to really just either run it or extend the play, and he just slipped and fell down. And I'm like,
interesting.
Like, hold on, take off the mask. Is it Teddy B? Is it Teddy B under there? Like, take it off. Who's under there? So that's, I think, as far as the most concerning part of Russ's game, I don't think it's really like his throwing ability. I think he's been, throwing a lot of beautiful balls. There's also been a couple plays to where we were really close as far as getting the touchdown, but the receiver couldn't get both feet in bounds. So there were a couple touchdowns taken away. But that is the most concerning part. It's within 2 games, he's had 5 total rushing yards in his career. Take away last year because obviously he was hurt last year. He usually averages 35 to 40 yards per game.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's a drastic difference. That's a drastic difference. But yeah,
and it's part of his game. And it's not even just like, he's not Lamar, right? He's not Jalen Hurts. He's not going to go up the field and rush a 60-yard touchdown. But that escapability, extending the play, that's something that I haven't really seen from Russ yet. And so when it comes down to this match, I know you guys have a beast out there in Bosa. So look, he needs to bring that part of his game to this matchup, because otherwise, who knows? We could be in trouble.
I love it. Yeah, that's what I want to hear. The Broncos fans are worried, guys. They're worried. They know they're in trouble. No, Russ, or it's a small sample size. I would expect you're going to start seeing kind of what makes Russ with him extending plays, getting some key first downs with his legs. But I just hope it doesn't start this week. Jeff, I want to ask you, when we're looking at this Denver Broncos team, through 2 weeks, just what would you consider the strengths of this team? What would you consider the weaknesses of this team?
Ooh, so the strengths, oh man. Before this week, I would have said, our offense, the receivers. We have Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. We had KJ Hamler. But we are a depleted bunch when it comes to that receiving core. So right now, and I know we're going to be talking about injuries, but Cortland Sutton looks like he's the only guy there that's really like the star when it comes to the receiving core.
Yeah. What about Albert? What about Albert O? Big O. What has he done through the first couple weeks?
Look, I think Albert O had a goose egg this last game. And when we're talking about drop balls, he's one of those culprit, guys. Yeah, he's a culprit. So he definitely has the talent. Look, we drafted another tight end too from UCLA in the 3rd round, and he's hurt. I think he's in short-term IR. But Albert O has to step up, man. Like, we do have to utilize our tight ends, and the guys that are stepping up are guys that aren't really big names. Like I think Saubert was the one that caught the winning touchdown this last game. But yeah, as far as the receiving core goes, we're depleted. But I think when it comes to our strength, the defense has looked really good, especially in the second half. The first half, I feel like, they're a little rusty. It takes them a while as a unit to get going. But the second half defense has really held their own. They're definitely a second half team thanks to the defense. We got, Draymond Jones, DJ Jones. I know you guys know about, DJ.
Yeah. I miss
that
DJ
front line,
Jones. Let me tell you, that guy.
Yeah, that front line has been really good. Randy Gregory is another guy that's been really stepping up. Maybe not so much in the sack area, but there's a lot of forced fumbles that have been created so far in the 2 games that the defense has played. So that's really encouraging. I think they've had I need to take a look at the stats again, but I think they've had more forced fumbles this year than they did last year, which is which is really good.
That's crazy. Yeah,
as far as
2 games.
Right. So I mean, if they had some fumble recoveries, that would be better. But I think the defense right now is our highlight when it comes to this team.
Bradley Chubb. I saw him. Yeah, I was watching that. The opening game against the Seahawks, and Bradley Chubb. I know he had a sack, but
I think he had 2 sacks.
How's he looked? How's he? Okay. How's he looked?
Yeah, Chubb looks good, man. I think it's a contract year for him, I believe. So Bradley Chubb, he's been looking really good. So again, I'm not too worried about the defense. I mean, there are a couple injuries right now in the defense. Justin Simmons is out. He's on IR right now. PS2's day-to-day, Patrick Surtain. So, he's another guy that that needs to be out there on the field this
He's big
upcoming
time.
week?
I mean, I'm a Patrick Surtain fan. I loved him coming out of Alabama. He was my top corner coming out in that draft.
Mm-hmm.
Supremely talented guy. So the fact that he's kind of dinged up, even though I'm a fan, I wouldn't mind if he took this week off. Wouldn't mind it.
Yeah. There's another kid that we have too, Mathis from Pittsburgh. I think he's a 5th rounder. So he had a really high grade this last week from PFF. So he's holding out. He's holding his own. But obviously with cornerback depth and the fact that you guys have some decent receivers over there with Debo and Ayuk. Look, we could use all the help that we can get, and having our top corner, I think that might be the deciding factor, right? Because as far as this game goes, I'm looking at the strengths and weaknesses, and the past couple games, it's really similar. Like I feel like both teams are kind of like on a similar vibe right now, right? A lot of changes going on.
Both of them
right?
1-1.
Both of them are 1-1. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I think the injuries are hurting us a little bit. So, if we don't have Surtain, if we don't have Judy, it's one of those things to where, I might have to give it to you guys this week.
Oh, a little preview of the game prediction, huh? Hey, Jeff, I want to ask you the offensive line, right? Bowles has been around for a while. Garrett Bowles,
yeah,
left tackle. Bosa will move, left end, right end, but he tends to line up usually more so over the left tackle. So I wanted to ask you, how is Bowles in pass pro?
Look, there might be a couple holding penalties this week. Right. So Bowles, he's gone better.
Bowles, yeah. I know early in his career, he had a lot of penalties on him, but that was, right. I thought he had kind of cleaned that up as of late.
He has. I mean, he's gotten better, but I do feel like you might hear number 72 being called a couple times this upcoming week, which I get, so that's going to be a good matchup though with Bosa and Bowles. But look, if Bosa lines up to the right tackle, it might be a different story because, Cam Fleming, I think right now is our starter. Depending on if Billy Turner, which was the penciled in starter in the beginning of the year, if he ends up starting, who knows? It might be a better fit, but we'll see, man. I am concerned about the left and right tackle when it comes to your guys' rush. So,
okay. Who's the right tackle?
So right now it's I believe it's Cam Fleming who is starting.
Okay.
But we originally had Billy Turner as the starter, but he's been hurt.
That's right. You said that.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens this upcoming week. But yeah, man, Bowles has to step it up this week. He really does. That. And
you gotta bring your A game. Anytime you're playing a Bosa, you better bring your hard hat. You better bring your A game. Otherwise,
exactly, you're gonna have a
tough time, and your quarterback's gonna be yelling at you.
Yeah, you got to get to work, man. You gotta get your tools. You gotta get everything. Your tool belt. Get your lunch pail. Like you're going to work. But that also, segues to the Russell Wilson and his rushing ability. Like there's times where I feel like he has an open lane and he can take it, and he's been really hesitant when it comes to that. He second guesses. He'll go for the throw, which I get. But look, man, if you're getting rushed and you see an open lane, you might have to just pick up that 5 to 10 yards just to gain some momentum. For the
Russ
offense.
Loves pushing it down the field. He's got a beautiful deep ball, and he loves to show that off. And it's also, have you noticed this, Jeff? He really likes to work outside the numbers, like kind of he's almost like the opposite of Jimmy G, whereas Jimmy G likes to do all of his work over the middle. And I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Russell Wilson likes to go kind of deep and outside the numbers.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, if he sees like a one-on-one, I feel like he's going to take that every time. With Sutton, I'm all for it. Look, whoever matches up with Sutton, like I'm game because I do think Sutton's he's a great receiver when it comes to the 50-50 balls. I would say 70-80% of the time he's going to come up with it. But Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I think out of the overall game of Russ's game right now, it's just the fact that he hasn't really shown me that that old Russ from before, where he's just extending the plays, running around, or just running
Because
it up the field.
that's where the big chunk plays came. I feel like, Jeff, is when Russ is
Right.
breaking
The
contain,
backyard
buying the
ball,
extra
backyard
time.
ball.
Yep, somebody takes off, gets a step on a DB, and that's when Russell bomb it to him. So hopefully, you guys will wait till maybe week 4 to bring that element of the offense into play.
Hmm.
You did touch on some of the injuries, like the safety, really talented player, Simmons. I heard he's
Yeah.
got a thigh injury. He's not going to be out there, right, Jeff?
Oh no, Simmons is out. Yeah, that's really going to hurt us. And the fact that Jimmy G likes to throw up the middle,
Mm-hmm.
that might be something that you guys might try to expose. We do have Caden Stearns, who's he's a quality starter. But yeah, having Justin Simmons out definitely hurts us quite a bit.
Yeah, and Judy. I know Judy's nicked up. Are you expecting him to be out there, or is he? I know it's early in the week. Things can obviously change. But what's your read on Jerry Judy, and what's his injury, if you happen to know?
With Jerry Judy, I'm not 100% on the injury. I thought it was an ankle at first, but I don't know if it ended up being like ribs.
Okay,
I think right now he's day to day though, so I'll have to look it up on what the
day to
injury is
day.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the cool thing is with Judy and Patrick Surtain, they're both day to day, and I think Patrick Surtain will have a chance to play. Right. I mean, again, we got to have those corners and the depth to cover the guys that you have. Especially when it comes to Debo, like that guy can make nothing out of gold. So
Yeah, you got that right.
we gotta make sure that we can.
No doubt, no doubt. See, I might be losing Jeff here, but we're going to be getting into our game predictions, and I see the chat is already getting into it. The chat's already hitting us with game predictions, Jeff. So before we get to our game predictions, why don't we touch? I'm going to touch on the 49ers injuries. George Kittle, I've heard a rumor that he's coming back this week. So hey,
Ooh.
that'll be something big to look
Ooh.
forward to, because we've missed George Kittle out there on the field. We know he's dominant, running passing routes. He can also dominate in the run game. So we've missed George Kittle. It'd be great to get him back. And Jimmy Ward's on IR. He was voted into the NFL top 100. Jimmy Ward, he's been ascending, at the latter end of his career, but he won't be out there. We lost Eli Mitchell, the starting running back, week 1.
That one hurts.
He's out for a while. Now, Ty Davis Price, our 3rd-round rookie, who was kind of emerging last week. He was looking pretty good. He had suffered a high ankle sprain. So TDP is out. So we've lost our first running back and then our 3rd running back. Jeff Wilson is still there. Jeff Wilson's probably going to lead this backfield. Well, Debo's also going to see work in the backfield at running back. But it'll be Jeff Wilson. It'll be Debo. I know a lot of fans, including myself. Let me see if I can find the chat. There, people are already talking about Jordan Mason, this undrafted rookie we have. He looked really good. PFF said he was the best running back in all of the preseason. He was dominating. This guy was getting the rock, and he's super decisive, just getting upfield. He wasn't tipped up. So a lot of us want to see what Jordan Mason has. This might be the week. He hasn't gotten an offensive touch yet. We've seen him on special teams, but now with the injuries, this might be the week we see the undrafted kid, Mason.
Would you pick him up in fantasy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because the way Shanahan works it is that with the hot hand approach,
right?
He'll give multiple guys touches, but if somebody emerges like Eli Mitchell did last year, where clear cut he was the best guy, Shanahan will lead on him. So if you have the roster space available add Jordan Mason. It's worth a flyer. I drafted Jeff Wilson in a couple leagues because it just seemed our running backs always get dinged up, and I knew Jeff Wilson was the next man up, and
But
that paid off.
Injury prone. He's injury
prone too. He's injury prone
So-
too. Yeah. So let's touch up on the chat. We got some legends in the chat. Yeah. What's up, Matt? Montana. Yeah.
Ooh.
There's murmurs that Trey Lance potentially could make it back this season, but it seems it. I don't want to rush him.
How would that work? So let me ask you. Let's say the Niners are, like 9-6.
Yeah.
Right. And Trey Lance has an opportunity to come back. Would you have him back? Or would you just say,
Probably not.
what?
Probably not, man.
Let's just
I'm not
sit this
rushing
one
him.
out.
I'm not rushing him back.
Now on the same note, let's say you guys are 9-6, like there's playoff aspirations, right?
Yeah.
Now this becomes kind of a tricky situation because you have a guy that's, able to take you. He might not take you all the way, but he's able to take you pretty far. That it just kind of clouds up the franchise.
At that point, we would have to run with the vet as opposed to rushing the Trey Lance, the youngster coming back from a very serious injury. I think you just roll with the vet at that point, and you give Trey Lance a full off season to get that ankle right. And yeah, let's keep going through this chat. Let's see what's up, Brian. Thanks for coming by. I like Trey. Any message you guys type in the chat with a flame emoji is getting pulled up here, as long as it's appropriate. So drop the flame emoji questions or comments, and they're making the big screen. What up, Kelts? Kelts is the man. Yeah, the chat's live right now. Chat's live.
Let's go, chat.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. Kelts surprised Kittle didn't come back in the second half of the Seahawks game. Yeah. There he is. Here we go. Here's the Mason Hive. There's the Mason Hive will come alive.
I'm gonna have to look at this kid. Mason
check out his preseason highlights because he was running hard, decisive. Right. That's the thing. Because I hate running backs, Jeff. They get the rock, they start tiptoeing behind the line, they're tap dancing. That's what Trey Sermon was doing. That's why we had to ship off Trey Sermon.
And I feel like when I was watching a few of Jeff Wilson's runs, he kind of does that too. He kind of waits a little bit, looks for the hole to open
a little bit, and then but once he sees it, Jeff Wilson runs hard. Like
absolutely.
He's not the shiftiest, he's not gonna make you miss like in dynamic fashion, but he runs hard. He gives you everything he's got on every touch. That's the thing I do like about.
And he might pull that century mark this week because I feel like our run defense hasn't been what I expected it to be. Dameon Pierce had an amazing game this last game as well.
We got a flame emoji question. What if we're 8-5, Jimmy's out, Brock has one win? Do you go to Trey or Brock? Brock's our third string, Brock Purdy. I don't know how familiar you are with this guy, Mr. Irrelevant.
I thought you were talking about Brock Osweiler. I was like,
that must give you PTSD.
Yeah, I was like, you're going with Trey.
Yeah. In that scenario, we're 8-5, Jimmy's out. Brock,
you're going with Debo.
We're going Debo. Do it all.
Debo.
I'm probably rolling with Brock. I don't want to put Trey out there in a situation where it's something could be even worse because I don't want to rush Trey back.
Right. I mean, you guys invested so much.
Yeah. We're going to catch up on these comments, and then we're getting to our game predictions, Jeff.
Oh, you're good.
Especially made me think about Ricky Waters. Yeah, Ricky Waters. Kyle produced a couple Emmys with no Hollywood ending. Yeah, see, Jeff, I mean, this is how the fan bases we're getting a little, I don't want to say disgruntled, but impatient. Getting impatient.
I get it.
It's like Jeff, we were 4 years old. I was 4 years old last time 49ers won a Super Bowl. And it's like we've been, we got close a couple times. We lost to the Ravens, and then we know about the Chiefs loss. And last year we went on this improbable run. I would consider it improbable.
Absolutely.
And we just couldn't quite get there. It felt like we were in the driver's seat in that NFC Championship game against ended up being the Super Bowl winning Rams. And it just went downhill. But check it out. Check it out. Let's see where we at. Matt. Where we at? There we go. Matt making it rain. Thanks for dropping the dono. Matt says, keep doing your thing. I got a feeling you will blow up. Matt, that's big time. Because, I do it because I love talking ball. I love the Niners. And I couldn't do this without you. So I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And I know you're not alone. So I appreciate that. That's big time. That's what motivates me to keep pushing, knowing, hey, you know what? People out there, they are digging your content. You're not talking nobody. You're talking to a great audience. 49ers, Jeff, sorry, I can't speak about the Broncos. 49ers, we got the best fan base. We got the best creators on YouTube. We got the most supportive fan base, although Twitter does get pretty crazy, Jeff. 49ers Twitter, it's like a different world out there where you got the Jimmy stands. That's where you that's where things clash, because
when it comes to support,
there's a split in this fan base. Even I'm at this game, Jeff, and when Trey went down, honestly, there was actually a Seahawk fan behind me who I wanted to punch because he started cheering. And I just turned around and just gave him the evil eye. Like, I was pissed. And my buddy had to kind of calm me down because after he cheered, when they're bringing out the cart for Trey, I was pretty pissed. And my buddy calmed me down. And now at that point, it is Jimmy's team. I couldn't go out there and start a Jimmy chant like immediately after. But there were guys, their fans around. Jimmy, it's Jimmy time. Like, they were getting pumped up. And like, I can't knock it. Now Jimmy's our guy. Actually, you know what? I gotta show off my shirt. Because I bought this shirt in Jimmy We Trust.
Oh, okay.
I've had this one for a while. And
I see some cobwebs over there.
I had to dust this one off. I almost donated it because I thought he was out the door. Good thing I didn't, because I had to whip it back out.
Right.
Because Jimmy's our guy now. So even if I'm not the biggest Jimmy guy, and I wanted to see Trey even last year, hey, Jimmy's our guy. It's our quarterback. We can win games. We can potentially, like I said earlier, if you missed the first segment of the show, I think we can win a Super Bowl led by this defense. If this defense is dominant, something like the 2000 Ravens, it's kind of been my comparison that I'm making. But hey, anyway, shout out to Matt for the super chat. I'm going to keep grinding. So let's I think we got a few more comments to touch on, and then we're getting to our predictions. You guys start dropping your predictions in the chat.
I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
Yeah, let me know. So let's see if I'll be surprised if anyone in the chat's picking the Broncos. I will be, because I know who my
the realist will.
No doubt. Okay, I was making sure I didn't miss nothing. Okay, yeah, we're looking good. It's game prediction time. You're the guest, Jeff. I want to ask you, how do you think this game is going to play out? I want to hear your winner, score prediction. Think about it for a sec if you need to, but I want to hear it.
1,000,000-0 Broncos.
Not a chance.
No. So I obviously I got to go with my home team, but look, this is going to be Mile High, right? It's prime time.
Sunday night. I just had to double check and confirm it, but yeah, Sunday night prime time.
Sunday night prime time. The fact that we're at home, I'm going to pick the Broncos, and I'm going to say 23-17. Okay. And the X factor is going to be the crowd. Because I don't know if you saw this. In the second game against the Houston Texans, the crowd had to chant the game clock because of all the delay of game penalties that we were having, because of all the
No.
mishaps, because of
No.
the indecision of the coach. Yeah. Once it got down to
This
10,
is Hackett?
you hear in the background the chant from the crowd saying 10, 9, 8,
Wow.
because there were so many delay of game penalties, man. I am telling you, the performance. Look, the Seahawks, I was trying to give them an excuse, right? You know, like, look, we didn't play in the preseason and the starters played in the preseason. There might have been some jitters. Okay, it is what it is. That 64-yard field goal attempt, you know, if we could look back, you know, he would have obviously went for it on fourth down, you know, 10 out of 10 times from now on. The second game was just as bad, if not worse. Like so we had a shot to make a field goal. Like it was 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, and Hackett just took his sweet little time. He was very undecisive whether to go for it or not. Right? I think we were on like the 35. But anyways, like he decided to go for the field goal, but he took too much time, and then we ended up getting a delay of game penalty, which led us to punting the ball.
Wow, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
Right.
And Hackett's coming over from Green Bay Packers, correct?
Right. He was the OC. Yeah, he was the OC for
Green Bay. Was he calling plays in Green Bay?
No,
was he the play caller?
And
see, that's the thing. That's a transition.
Right.
This guy's now a first-time play caller. That might be the issue right there.
First-time play caller, first-time head coach. And here's the thing. There was actually I don't know if you're familiar with Orlando Franklin. He was one of your guys' coach last year. Okay. So he coached with the 49ers last year. He was a offensive lineman for the Broncos for the longest time. But he even mentioned it, like, you know, the fact that this is a brand new coaching staff, I think they need to get in synced, because who knows, you know, who's talking in that headpiece. You know, you have the OC, or you have someone say, hey, go for it. You have the special teams coach saying, no, let's kick the field goal. We got this. Let's kick the field goal. You have analytics over there saying, no, you should do this. You should do that. Look, Hackett, if you want to do the play calling, you got to be decisive. You know, you can't take your sweet little time and, you know, decide in the very last second and put us in a predicament to where we're getting delay of game penalties. So I think the X factor is going to be the coach and the crowd. If the coach isn't going to be, you know, pulling his weight as far as, you know, managing the clock, the crowd is.
The crowd's counting down. Well, I don't think I've ever seen that before. I don't think I've ever seen anything.
Look it up. I might have probably to. On YouTube. It's probably on YouTube. So it was definitely crazy, man. And when you're watching the game, you just hear the 10, the 9, like the countdown, and it was so weird. And the fact
that's got to be after at least like 3 or 4. Like you're not doing that after 1 or 2 delay of games. We talking what, 3, 4, 5? Like what? How many was it?
I mean, this kind of carried over to the Seahawks game, because the Seahawks game. Right, like the Seahawks game was not perfect. You know, it was a mess. But being a new coach, you know, us fan base, we want to give him a chance. But the second game, you know, when not only does it happen during the second game, but it happened multiple times, to where you're just like, look, man, what do we got to do? And we had, you know, Vic Fangio and Vance Joseph prior to Coach Hackett coming in, and you know, those guys. Like,
Jeff, you just reminded me of something. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but Vic Fangio, I feel like he got the raw end of the stick, meaning you guys could never get him a legit quarterback. It's like he's a great defensive coach. I think he's a great coach in general. And it's like, what would this team have looked like if they kept Fangio and got Russell Wilson? You know, maybe you bring in a new offensive mind, but it's like, why couldn't you give Fangio another year and get him a legit quarterback? I mean, you're making him roll out, you know, whether it's Teddy B, Drew Lock, you know, your boy Osweiler.
Awesome. The Brocco. But look, with Fangio, he was just old school, you know, and I get it. Like, look, when Shanahan's coming into the meetings with Yeezys on, you know, I get jealous. I'm like, hey, we want a coach like that. So I like the new age coaches But you're right, man. Vic Fangio is a good coach. I just don't think he was a good head coach. Defensive coordinator, I'll take him all day long, right? Because
Yeah.
he keeps the team disciplined. You know, we didn't have too many penalties last year, but this year
Yeah.
it's been a show, man, and not a good one.
Yeah. Hey, I want to get to Juan's super chat. Juan, appreciate it. That's big time. He gives his game prediction.
Oh,
55-10, San Francisco 49ers. Wait, that was the Super
mm-mm-mm.
Bowl scored 1990. I
That was
think he's
bad.
flaming you. I think he's flaming you, Jeff.
Look, 1990. What is it? It's 2022, right? Like,
Hey, I love it,
the
Juan.
majority.
I love it.
The majority of the people watching this right now weren't even a thought back in the 90s. So let's talk about now, this upcoming weekend. It's going to be reversed, 55-10 Broncos. Pin it.
Hey, appreciate it, Juan. Let me drop my 2 cents in here. Because okay, your prediction was 23-17, correct, with the Broncos winning? Because I had a kind of a similar
23-17. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
No, I'm with you.
You know,
I'm with you on that. I'm going 24-20 49ers. And 20, that might even be generous. I'm being nice. Jeff. This defense might even do something else. It might hold you guys to single digits, to be honest. This defense is lethal. I mean, I don't know. I looked at the box score. Didn't really seem like the offense was cooking last week against the Texans, Jeff. Against the Texans.
We were using the microwave.
Russell Wilson was below 50% completion percentage.
Look, we talked about the drop passes. Here's the thing with the Broncos. They've been in the goal line. They've been inside the opponent's 5-yard line 5 times, and they've had 9 points to show for it. Five times inside the 5-yard line.
That's going to change. That,
right?
That can't continue.
And if that happens again, like there's going to be some red flags. Like it's either, the system, the coaching, and hence it's only the 3rd game. Like we're impatient. You're talking about impatient fans. Like as a fan for the Broncos, we've been waiting for so long to have, a franchise quarterback, which I think we've got. But we've also been wanting a competent, head coach to come in, right, and lead us to the promised land. So if we're going in to our opponents inside the 5-yard line and only producing 9 points out of it, that's
no bueno. You can't win games that way. Yeah.
So if we can fix that, look, I'm telling you right now, like these past 2 games, those are preseason games. I feel bad that you guys are, playing us in the 3rd game. This is our first regular season game. So I kind of feel bad that you guys have to experience that. On primetime too, oh man. You know what? I'm gonna say 27-17. I'm gonna up it a little bit. 27-17. My bad. Because I started thinking about it a little bit more.
27 points?
27-17.
I think Broncos putting up 27 points on this squad.
Hell no. To the no. Yeah, to the no.
You ain't putting up 27 points on this defense, Jeff. Not on this defense.
Hell no. To the no. Yeah, to the no.
It ain't happening. You know what? Just because of that, Jeff, I'm redoing my game prediction.
Okay.
Instead of 24-20.
Be realistic.
24-10. 24-10.
Ooh.
24-10. Yeah. How you like that?
Hey. We'll see, man. We'll see.
Jeff shook. Jeff, we got him shook, fellas. Jeff is shook.
Go, baby.
Hey, Jeff, I had a blast. Anything you want to shout out or any last things you want to say? We're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. No, look, I appreciate, talking with you. And yeah, it's going to be a good game. Like I said, both teams right now are 1-1. you have one team that is. I think both teams are experiencing something new, right? I know you guys have been used to Jimmy, but like your guys' game plan was to have Trey, run the ship, and
I think the
now you
fans are
kind of
having a harder time adjusting to the change in quarterback than the team will, to be honest. I know a lot of fans we're shook, to be honest. But
right.
I think the team, there's
Oh yeah,
rumors, Jeff, that some people inside the building wanted Jimmy, to be the starter from the jump.
I can see
So
that.
that, I don't think the team is going to have too
A
hard
hard
of a
time.
time
Yeah.
rallying behind, and it's something to rally behind too.
And I think as a fan for Broncos country, I want to see what Coach Hackett does, and you guys might experience it too this upcoming weekend, right? When you see delay of game penalties, or if you hear the crowd chanting the countdown,
I'm looking for that.
know.
I want to see that. I want to see Bronco
Right.
fans counting
I'm
down
sure
the
you
play
do.
clock
I'm sure you
because
do,
they've
'cause
had
that
too many
means
delay games.
right.
That's big time. I love, and
So
shoot, look at my boy. Look at my boy coming through. Let me get that. Let me get that right there. Let me get that right there. What you say? Jeff said Broncos putting up 27 points. I mean, come on.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Yeah, to the no.
Ain't getting no 27 points on this D, Jeff. It ain't happening.
listen. I got something to tell y'all. Let's ride, baby. Let's ride. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Hey, Kelts. Shout out to Kelts Chronicles. Check out his channel. We got a show Monday nights. We got a 4-man show. Amin the Dream, who Jeff, Jay in the Bay,
Yes, sir.
Kelts. And so make sure you're subscribed to Kelts Chronicles. Kelts, appreciate that.
The paper that's coming down, those are all the bets that I'm going to be winning this week with all my Niner friends.
Oh, yeah? Well, you got a lock of the week or what? Well, I want to hear it. You got a lock of the week? It ain't the Broncos. Don't you dare. And it ain't the Broncos.
No, I don't got a lock of the week, man. I don't gamble.
Well, if you got – oh, okay. Never mind.
No, I'm just kidding. I might.
DraftKings, I hit $7,000 on DraftKings. This was like a couple years ago. Actually, shout out to Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson, he was dirt cheap, right? Because he was filling in. He was the running back to fill in. So he's dirt cheap, got multiple touchdowns. It was in New York. We played the Jets and Giants back to back. I forget what week it was, but Jeff had multiple touchdowns. He's in my lineup. And I had Russ and Lockett also in that lineup, who went off for like three touchdowns. And anyway, that's my plan. I got to hit another one of those. I'm due.
Yeah. Hey, Jordan Mason, man. You got me intrigued with Jordan Mason. So
yeah,
might have to check him out.
No doubt. Hey, that's going to do it for the 49ers Broncos preview. Jeff, you killed it. I'll talk to you soon. Those of you in the chat, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and catch y'all next time.